yours.
Okay. My name is Dr. Fawaz Zarour. I'm the Director of Translation Projects and International Relations of ARTA. It gives me pleasure to start welcoming our dear guest with a few words, heartfelt words, in fact, on this very auspicious occasion. Dear Mr. Amir, the President of the Arab Translators Association, dear members of ARTA, dear guests, dear audience from everywhere. Let me start my word with a very warm good evening to our dearest guest, Mr. Dr. Pranjal Kumar Pukan. There will be plenty of knowledge this evening, enriching our experiences in the field of translation and its relevant assisting tools, including CAT tools, machine translation, content management system, CMS, translation management system, TMS, and other modules that would help participants get benefited in translation activities by learning on the following: how to update traditional translation systems to meet the modern needs of the clients, how translation technologies work, how to choose the right translation technology vendor, benefits of translation services under the modern model, limits of modern translation technology, and other matters. For translation and interpretation service providers, associations of translation companies, freelancer translators and interpreters, and language and translation students. The main aim and outcome of this webinar this evening is to come up with a national and international framework for a whole educational and vocational system in the future. The crux of this webinar will be the use of digital technologies that are being increasingly adopted, especially after the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic. We hope this webinar today, with an outstanding big shot in the realm of digital technology, like Mr. Pukan, would help students expand their mental horizon and help the digital technology aspirants in particular, and the education system in general, adopt the best of the translation and education system available around the world. I request all the participants from everywhere to make the most of this webinar to the best of their abilities. And I promise to check and coordinate with Mr. Pranjal for organizing some training courses in the domains that would be touched upon tonight to further assist our ARTA members in elevating their potentials and enhancing their abilities in the field of translation and interpretation. I wish you all the best for today's webinar, and a warm welcome again to our dear guests and to each and every one of our participants. Thank you.
Very good evening from India. Actually, now it is 9:45 p.m. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and I'm really
all the goods, Mr. Pranjal, all the goods.
All goods. And I'm really thankful to President Arab Translation Association for giving me this huge opportunity, I can say, where I can discuss the most important thing of translation, for which Arab Translation Association is known globally. I'm also thankful to Dr. Fawaz Ahmed. I'm in touch with you, and I'll be obviously coming out with some modules which I've already discussed. I'm actually in the process. Yesterday only, President asked me about this, and I told that maybe by end of this month, I will be ready with the complete course curriculum. that is different, not in line with this, which I'm going to deliver today. So first of all, I would like to say to all respected attendees that translation services is the biggest activity of humankind, because it is the only services which connects people globally, because translation is the only process through which we can understand each other's culture, each other's literatures, each other's civilizations, and many other things. So not wasting much of time, now I'm going to share my slide, which will speak in details. And during this process, you will be really astonished to know that how advanced we have made through modern technologies in translation activities, so that it can be easier for the customers to get their services on time, easier for the translators to do all their related activities as per the needs of the customers. So now I'm going to share my slide. I hope my slides is visible to all. Is my slide visible to all?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay. Thank you, sir.
perfect.
Thank
Many
you.
thanks.
So now this is the subject which we are going to discuss today. That is modern technologies. How modern technologies is spreading its wings in the translation services. So first of all, we should go with this. Now we should know why technology is required in translation services, because the use of technology has brought with it important trends that are rapidly changing not only translation industry. You might be knowing that it is actually rapidly changing all the industries, all the sectors, all the domains, which is touching us every day. So translation industry cannot be left out. So obviously translation industry is also being affected by use of these modern technologies, and some of the trends which is ongoing and which is already being advancing are basically, you can say, why the technologies is used on translation industry, because it improves quality of services, translation services. It improves productivity, means you can now catch up with more customers, more clients globally. You have better connectivity because 5G internet of things, internet IIoTs, and all these advanced technologies, artificial intelligence enabled tools has helped not only the customers but also the service providers. Then e-commerce, and last is high-tech trends, which I will discuss in the coming slides. So this is the most important thing. You should understand that how the things are actually happening in among us. If you see the mobile phones, it took 12 years to get adopted by the customers. It took 7 years to get we took 7 years to adopt internet or to get familiarized with it. It took 4 years for the Facebook to get familiarized with all the citizens of the globe. It took 1 year for the WeChat, and it only take 10 days, 19 days to go for the Pokemon Go, which children are basically playing. So this is the way the technology adoption rate is rapidly reducing. Means time is reducing. We have to adopt as fast as possible. We have to adapt as fast as possible. Otherwise, the thing is like survival of the fittest. Now, before going to translation technology, we should know the history of translation technology. Translation technology history is not very new. It started in 1950s when Georgetown University and International Business Machine (IBM) introduced the world first machine translation system. Way back, I can say way back, how much? 70 years. In 1980s, the arrival of the electronic dictionaries and terminological databases happened. In mid 1980s, you can say the precursor of modern translation management system, which is called TMS, has entered the scene basically in 1980s, around 40 years back. late 1980s to early 1990s, these international business machine researchers, IBM researchers, they've introduced statistical machine translation, that is SMT. I haven't touched this subject, statistical machine translation today, because if I going to do this, then my slides will be more than 60 to 70 pages. So I have skipped that. Other than that, important tools I have touched upon today's presentation. In early 90s, most commercial computer assisted, that is called CAT, which I have discussed in detail today, which I will show you. In early 2000, the first cloud-based TMS solutions appeared. TMS, as I said, is a translation management system. 2006, Google launched Google Translate, and 2016, Google Translate introduced first time neural machine translation, that is called NMT. So first of all, audience, you should know that what is translation technology, because technology and science, you must be knowing it very well. Science is the basic engine, basic science is the science which is basically like physics, chemistry, and maths, and technology is the applied science. So what is translation technology? It is the use of software tools. Software tools, if I say, then software doesn't mean only artificial intelligence, but those tools also which we have seen for the last 20 years in the software industries that support the process of converting written text from one language to another. The term translation technology always encompasses everything from translational memories, translational management tools, to machine translation. Machine translation, when I say, then it goes to second generation, third generation computer technologies, not this fifth generation, sixth generation, which I'm saying. It is happening. The machine translation, that virtual interpreting technology, which you can say very well through virtual reality, augmented reality, and artificial intelligence, and even voice to text technologies. Tools such as translational memories, which store previous translations. Memories, they have storing some previous translations to inform and expedite future projects. And translation management system, which is TMS, it helps to automate the repetitive processes and increase control of the service providers. Now coming to the point of what are the importance of translation technology, why it is required, why we all translators should know that what is the impact of this latest and modern technologies in translational activities. Translation technology always enables businesses. Which businesses? The translators' businesses, not only to meet these challenges, but also to maximize the translational spend by increasing speed and quality, while we have to cap our cost. We cannot increase our cost in the present situation, in dynamic situation, or you can say VUCA situation. VUCA means volatile, uncertain, complex, and A stand for like I'm just forgetting that particular A, but VUCA basically means that complex situations, the situation in which you cannot determine the future, you cannot determine the next step. That is called VUCA world. So in that case, basically you have to keep always the mind that your cost, your operational cost should not increase. Otherwise, it should be really difficult to sustain in the present situations, which everyone knows. So decision makers can keep close watch on their cost, their productivity, with the help of translation technology, so that they can deliver on all fronts to the customers, like speed, reliability, sustainability, resilience, and everything. So translation technology always allows the translating companies to go global quickly, because you have to go global. Now the world is very small. Once we are connected with each other through internets or through the software systems, then obviously, like I'm sitting in India, at the farthest corner of India, that is called Assam, which is the farthest corner of India, and I'm talking to you globally. Everyone is from everywhere from the world. So this, in this situation, basically how this technology is helping me to get in touch with you by sitting at my home. So translation technology, that's why it allows you to go global quickly, easily, and affordably, by enabling them to streamline the entire localization process. Means you can do the translation of Chinese translation, Spanish translation, French translation, or you can say other dialects of like Asia, then with this, by sitting at one place, you can do all these translation activities with the help of emerging technologies. Also, it provides them the scalability, efficiency, so that we can have efficient solutions, which can help you to reach new markets faster and more effectively than before. Now, as we all know, the technology is basically changing very fast. It is rapidly changing things. So if you are not in touch with the technology, what is happening now, you will be lost after some time. So that's the reason I thought that I should put this slide. What are the future of coming technologies? When we are going to the 5th generation of artificial intelligence, that is called artificial neural network, then machines will be replacing human beings. That is the forecast being given by 2035, or you can say 2040, that artificial neural network is coming, and that is the advanced stage of artificial intelligence. So better you should be knowing that what are the future of translation technology by getting affected by these emerging technologies. Number one, future of translation will combine human intelligence and AI, means artificial intelligence powered machines translation to produce best results. We want best results at optimum cost. In the end, human translators and AI tools will have to work together as a single translation team or as a single entity, with each member have to play the distinctive roles. Otherwise, it will be really difficult for them who are not in touch or not basically interested to adapt these emerging technologies. So very likely transitions from computer assisted human translation will be going to human assisted computer translations. So like this, when I discuss, I used to say, now we are going in the situation of, previously we had a situation of human computer interface. Now we are progressing towards MCI, mind computer interface, means computers, means system will be now interfacing not with the human beings, but with their minds, with the brains, BCI, which we can say brain computer interfacing. So machine translation post-editing ensures that AI-generated translations are accurate, fluent, while human translators will make the final creative changes. It means I'm giving you option, I'm giving you the tip basically that humans won't be replaced 100%. There have to be human beings who have to work in line with the systems like AI-enabled tools, because the creativity machines cannot understand. They don't have the emotions. So that emotions part, basically the human beings have to play the role. So translation technology will continue, allowing translators to focus on more complex translations, with bilingual, multilingual, leaving the tedious and repetitive tasks to AI-powered tools. So these repetitive tasks, manual tasks, mundane tasks will be taken care by the machines, and the rest, all the creative activities, changes, and whatever the cases may be, having the human touch, or you can say empathy touch, that will be done by the human beings, have to be carried out by the human beings. Now, you should also be knowing, I know that still I thought I should put one slide here, the what is difference between translation and localization. Translation basically is the transfer of text from one language, the source language, the first language, to the another language, that is the targeted language. The goal is to accurately reflect the meaning, the feelings, the emotions, and the purpose of the original. Whereas localization is basically the process which is being adapted that translates to the culture of the target market. Suppose if I'm translating from Spanish to Arabic, then how I can understand that Spanish culture. When I'm translating to Arabic culture, the Arabic culture I need to understand, I need to keep in mind. So that is taken care by localization, because simply if you go for translation, it will just translate from like apple to apple. But for the localization, with the touch of the culture, target market, localization is very, very important. So for example, there are multiple versions of Spanish which are based countries. It is spoken in European, Mexican, Argentinian Spanish, and so on. So in order to deliver the exact same translation to all of them can cause issues based on their national pride, their identity. So there is the requirement of localizations. So I know that all translators, all the STEM members are basically known about this, but still I thought I should put one slide so that I can make it more clear how this emerging technology is taking care of this localization also. Now, starting with the first tools, which Dr. Fawaz has already mentioned, that is called CAT tools, computer aided translation tools. So these are basically software applications that supports the translation of text from one language to another, as I said, from source to target. And these are for the translations, for submitting, editing, managing, storing translations. So they do all these activities: submission, they do edition, they do managing and storing. So computer assisted. So computer assisted translation is the process by which software are used to help a human translators who transfers the meaning of the written text from one language to another. So now the current trend, what is the current trend, is that the simplification of this tool. We need to simplify so that we can grow faster, because ultimately the economy is important. Whatever we are doing as an academician, as an industry person, or as a professional, our first priority is that we should take care of our economy, of our community, of our country, isn't it? Then only we can take care of the overall economy of the globe. So that's the reason simplification is very much required, and modern technology, or you can say emerging technologies, is the big support to this particular activities of simplifications. For example, what Adobe is doing now, they have been steadily reducing the complexity of most of its softwares to accommodate the needs of less seasoned users. It is not required that experts has to be there to run these machines or run these tools. It should be in such a way that it should be so simple that any person who is having the basic knowledge or very little knowledge of the system, he or she should also be in a position to run these systems or tools. So what exactly these CAT tools do? I have told about the CAT tools. Now, what exactly it does? It basically used for the translations and are engineered to automate the whole translation related task. It makes it automatic as per the programming, based on the memories, based on the past experiences, historical data. You can automate it so that human beings are should not had not need not need go for these mundane activities or repetitive activities again and again. So now that what the translator can do, they can input the text into the CAT software in the source language. Source language means your source language. Like suppose you are sourcing from English, you are doing translation from English to Spanish. So English will be your source language, and use the interface to divide it into segments like phrases, sentences, or paragraphs. So this system will do this. So software save each and every source segment which are being fragmented, and corresponding translation as an entry in a database which is called translation memory, which is embedded in the CAT tools. Then after that, the more content you translate, more translation are matching the software, which will be able to reuse again and again as per your needs. So this kind of automation which is happening through CAT tools significantly speeds up your translation process and also ensures consistency with past translations. So now these CAT tools are working for translational work. So how these steps are being happening through CAT tools? The translator opens the source text, as I said, in the CAT program. Then CAT tool extracts the content that can be translated, including source content with images or other non-text elements. They will not appear as translatable in user interface. Then CAT tool automatically splits text into translation units. These units are also known as segments. Now CAT tool will display the source field and the translation field side by side, one segment after another, so that user can identify and do the processing. And after that, it also involves some of the few more steps, like translator types translations into the empty segments until the translation job is complete. So once a translation segment has been completed, your computer assisted tools saves the source text and its translation together in pair in a translational memory. So this cat tool will recognize identical or similar source text segments and autofill the corresponding translation in target column, drawing from the translational memory and gives you the final report. And these are the common features of cat tools. Number one is it has translational memory, which is a record of previously created translation which does not got erased. You can keep it so that it can be aligned with the source text for the next project. Term-based translation glossary is also part of cat tools. It means it is also known as translation glossaries, are databases which provides definitions or specific instructions for the use of translated terminology. Third is real-time collaborative teamwork. It means it is again cloud-based. Cloud-based is artificial enabled cloud-based. This is cloud-based cat tools, which can be private cloud, which can be public cloud, which can be hybrid cloud. So if you need, I can have one session on cloud specifically, because cloud computing is playing a very, very important and very significant role in all aspects of the service industries and production industries. So obviously translation activity is also getting affected with the help of cat tools, cloud-based tools. So cat tools are basically cloud-based tools, and you can invite your team of translators, reviewers, managers, customers, members of other teams, and ask for the input on specific translation documents anywhere in the world through cloud. Quality assurance functionality is the fourth one, which can be started before a project is sent for translations. As the proofreading continued throughout the translation, it continues. A proofreading is continued during the translation also, editing also, and performs the final checks automatically. It is automated. Then last is machine translation capability. So each users input text in their source language, selects their target language, and the machine tools. This is machine tools basically is machine translation tools. This engine generates the translations. Benefits are many. Like number one benefit is it tools fosters consistency, increase productivity, flexible, then it's less costly, and it also makes it easier to work flexibility with a team anywhere in the world through cloud with an invite to team members, collaborators, as I said, and these are also accessible across multiple platforms because cloud is there. So now it is accessible through multiple platforms like web, desktop, mobile, in office, in cloud, or on the move. So how to choose the best cat tools? I cannot suggest any best cat tool because it will be a conflict of interest for other industries who are basically the licensor of cat tools. But I can say something that before going for the best cat tools, the most important thing you need to discuss is whether it is within your budget or not. What is your need? Just don't go for the cat tools. First, assess your needs, whether you can have the integration facilities so that you can fulfill your needs. Do a test run for any sample test run of any cat tools before you purchase, and always choose a cat tool that is future proof, means that has the capability or that have the facility for enhancement or for any improvement. So while choosing your cat tool, you should always make sure that your cat tool provider is able to scale your growing needs. You don't need to change your tools every time. Your one-time purchase should continue for a long time with some augmentations, with some modifications, or with some retrofitations. So before making a buying decisions, always explore how open the potential provider is there, who can collaborate with the users, customers, partners, so that they can provide all the necessary updates time to time, which might be useful to you, mostly free of cost. Now before coming to machine translations, I need to make the august audience understand that what is the difference between machine translations versus computer assisted translation, that is cat tools. See, the machine translation is basically using directly the artificial intelligence enabled tools to automatically translate contents from source to target without any human interruption. It means human inputs or any human assistance. It is specifically effective for translating low tier content. Always understand that why cat tools are important, because machine translation only are effective for low tier translations. If we combine machine translation and computer assistant tools, then obviously human translators can streamline the whole translation process to achieve the accuracy, efficiency, and high quality results. So my opinion is that we should go for combination of machine translation and computer assisted translation tools. So, but before that, you need to understand, as I have already described about the CAT tools. Now, it is also important that you should understand what is machine translation tools. So, as I said, it is basically using AI without human interventions. It differs from CAT that it does not rely on human output. In CAT tools, human assistance is required, but in machine translations, human assistance is not required at all, but produces translation entirely on its own. So machine translation is the task of automation of the conversion of source text to one text, means target text in one language to the target text. So it always does this automatically with completely programmed way, and that's the reason in between translation it does not require any human intervention. So what are the types of machine translations? Because if I say, I am saying that you should go with CAT tools and machine translation tools combined, but you should know what are the machine translations available in the market presently. First is basically called as RBMT, that is rule-based machine translation, which translates words and sentences which are based on some set of rules like grammars that can be adjusted by the users using these machine translation tools. Second is called SMT, which I haven't touched. As I said, this is called statistical machine translation. It is a part of machine translation tools, which translates based on a corpus. Corpus means a large body of parallel text that the engine has been trained on. These are being trained through deep learning processes, which is again a separate subject. Deep learning and machine learning is basically, you can say, raw data, and deep learning is basically a very defined and qualified data. Neural machine translation, as I said, NMT, this is basically completely AI powered and capable of mimicking the way human brain does, which I said BCI. So until 2016, machine systems were based on statistical approach, but now all machine translations are NMTs. So we should understand what is the difference between raw versus post-edited machine translations. The raw data and versus post-edited. Once editing activities has been performed by machine translation. So what is the difference? See, the quality of machine translation outputs, it always varies, depends on the factors. Some of the important factors: number one, language pair at hand. Suppose the languages of these similar syntaxes, such as English and Chinese, may be hard to translate accurately than languages similar grammars like French and Spanish, isn't it? Similarly, the subject matter of the original text. A general language document tends to translate more accurately than, for example, a legal text. It is really difficult to translate. Third is basically whether the source text undergoes re-editing to eliminate certain elements that may cause translation engine to struggle. So that also to be taken care of. And the scope of the project, the type of project you are basically handling, and the amount of data which are available, because AI has come, artificial intelligence there. So obviously we are also in touch with big data. So amount of data you will be handling or available for handling, so that we can train the engine, and the use of editing resources or human translators to refine the translation output for having that empathy part, human touch. And last is the provider. Some engines are performing better than other, and as a result of having access to more data. So considering above, when I'm discussing about the raw data and post-edited machine translation data, then we can have this, that companies can choose now whether we are going to use this raw machine translation that is completely unedited, or to hire some human translators to refine the output depending on their goals and needs. Then it becomes machine translation post-editing. When you are having this raw machine translation and human interventions to refine the output, then we call this particular activity as machine translation post-editing, or MTPE. So there are two types of MTP. One is light and one is full. So you have to remember that for raw machine translation, it is always important to use a state-of-art machine translation engine that is highly trained and powered by artificial intelligence technology. And one more is there. One I have told you, that is MTP. Now one more is there. Now due to the advancement of technologies, emerging technologies, so what is happening that now it is possible also to identify the quality of machine translation output, that is raw data, means unedited data, to focus on post-editing resources where they are most necessary. At that time, we can have this another technology called machine translation quality estimation, means MTQE. Now here you are seeing that no human intervention is required for post-editing. So different types of text will be suitable for lower level of editing. For example, a website frequently asks questions page may require light editing. However, a press release that will directly impact the brand's reputation should go through a full editing. So you cannot say I will go for light editing. I have to go for full editing processes. So in this case, basically, now I'm just touching upon the first one, which we have discussed, human intervention required is MTP. So in this, what is happening, the post-editing strategy are basically our consideration on three parameters. One is time, one is quality, one is cost. So you have to build your post-editing strategy around this to maintain your business. You should always keep focus on your time, quality, and cost. So there are two types of MTP. One is light post-editing, one is full post-editing. As I said, light post-editing, basically what happens when a raw machine translated text is only modified where absolutely necessary to ensure that output is legible, accurately conveys the meaning of the source document, that is called LPE. If I go for thoroughly reviewing the raw machine translated output and modify to ensure that there are no errors, no possible errors whatsoever, then it will go for FPE, that is full post editing. So whereas LP always focus on bare essentials of accuracy, flexibility, and legibility, whereas full post editing considers a number of factors like stylistic, total consistency within the document and with other appropriate documents, absence of all grammatical errors, appropriate cultural adjustments for the target language, such as idiomatic expressions. And also post-editing tools will also help with the post-editing for both the editors and managers. And they should be aware that few tools they have to always keep in mind while using this MTP, that you have to set up your terminology management system, that is called TMS. This is not translation management system. This is terminology management system, which is part of the machine translation tools to help the post editor ensure that consistency is maintained, which may include translational memories, which may include term bases or any other useful references documents. Their consistency need to be maintained and they should be always kept up to date. So in this case, we have already studied MTP. Now this is MTQ, machine translation quality estimations. So in this case, the MEM source editor, this is also AI powered features which can provide quality scores for all the machine translation outputs, giving the editors an indication of how much work is required for each specific segment. So this can help linguistics project managers to identify the segments that they should prioritize for editing. So you can use a quality assurance tool, either integrated or you can buy a standalone. So that will help dynamically to identify any issues which is happening in the original output that were overlooked by the human intervention during human interventions, or some new errors might have cropped up during the post editing step. For this, apart from this MTQE machine translation quality estimation tools, you can also take some quality assurance tools either as part of this or you can have standalone. So this MTQE, which I said, where no human intervention is required, is basically always works different, not as MTPE. So here what happens, rather than evaluating the output of a machine translated engine, it instead analyzes the source text. It basically does not analyze the output, but it analyzes the source text that you are wishing to translate based on certain criteria, and it predicts with prescriptive diagnostic through big data. It predicts how good the translation should be before you basically make the final translation. So it gives a prescriptive information. It gives the prescription to you that if you do the translation like this, the result will be like this. So think over it and make some changes in the source document or source language. So there's enormous variety of different algorithms because artificial intelligence tool is involved. So obviously there is algorithms. So the most common algorithms which are used in machine translation quality estimation, that is MTQE, are: one is BLUE. BLUE means bilingual evaluation understudy. Second algorithm is ROG, which means recall oriented understudy for existing evaluations. Third is Meteor, which means metric for evaluation of translation with explicit ordering. So these are three types of algorithms which are being used by this machine translation quality estimation to take care and give you the prescriptive analytics before actual translation or actual output happens. So each of these algorithms, as I discussed above, three types, takes a different approach to measure how similar the machine translated output is to the reference translation, and what are the advantages and disadvantages if you go for the translation activities. It basically is like a simulation. So finally, this machine translation by the same logic are basically sensitive content such as financial statements should always be handled by human translators. So what I mean to say that during translation activity, if you find that the original text has some financial statement, then obviously you should not hand over it to the machines. Human intervention should always be there. As a rule of thumb, always use the raw machine translation for low impact, quickly perishable, unambiguous content. It means you should focus more on CAT tools and think internal documentations, user generated contents like product reviews, for which consumers generally expect low qualities, customer inquiries, frequently amended content. There you can use this machine translation tools. So always apply based on the requirements, whether you should go for light or you should go for full MTP. When your brand may suffer as a result of inaccuracies. Suppose there is a threat of inaccuracies where your brand image may get affected. Then at this position, you should think whether you should go for light MTP or full MTP. So it is basically a case of product titles like descriptions, which contain proper names, polysemous words, knowledge bases, press releases. There you should take care of it and leave it into the hands of the human translators when you feel the top quality is key. Don't just rely on machines. We are going very advanced in technologies, but human intervention is always required for the part of empathy, for the human touch, for the quality aspects. As there are no monetary or time constraints, then obviously you should go for the human translations in conjunction with the CAT tools or machine translation tools. Think legal, financial, technical documents for which accuracy is very, very important, consistency is very important, and highly creative collateral design to drive your actions and drive your results. This is the last tool, one tool, as I said, statistical part I haven't touched. So this is the last tool I'm discussing, that is called Translation Management System. This is basically a system, it's not a tool. It's a system which take care of the use of machines and use of human beings. So it is basically a software platform that is designed for translation project at scale. It means when you are going for a huge quantity of translation activities, then obviously you need to have in place this TMS, because it streamlines the translation process from start to finish, creating a workflow from the initial request to project completion, so you can take care of each and every activity at milestones, and also allows users to plan, assign, manage translation projects in a very organized manner. The best TMS solutions are always flexible enough to allow users to create their own workflows. The system also creates the workflows, but allows you flexibility to create workflows by the human beings. And also you can customize the software according to the needs of the business requirements. They are very highly scalable and they grow with the business with time. And these are basically are all cloud-based. As I said, these are all cloud-based, and also include some very core features, like they support multiple languages, multiple file formats. A dashboard is there in the TMS that always displays the project status. The option is there in the TMS to automatically push, or means import content into the TMS for translation, and pull means export it back to the project completions. It has the ability to streamline the processes by adding additional users, more users, or you can import existing translation requests from any other systems which you are following in your system for easier collaborations. And it has the ability to assign, modify, release tasks at any point of time in the project. That flexibility is also there. It also has a reporting functions. It always helps the user role management to maintain a separations between who manage the projects and who translate the projects, translate the text. It is a real-time collaborations for the business owners, for the business authorities to having an active teamwork, and also reduce the project turnaround times. It has the CAT-full functionalities like glossaries, term-based translation memories. These are all machine translation capabilities to help speed up the translation process with minimum human interventions also. It has the features like out-of-box integrations and applications, program interfacing like APIs for better connectivity with the existing systems which you have. Otherwise, your existing system will get redundant, but it doesn't allow the existing system to get redundant. And other tools such as CMS, content management system, then UI, user interface design tools, version systems, control systems, and many other. Now, the most important thing after speaking so much about the one system and two tools, machine translation tools and CAT, computer assisted translation tools, and the TMS. Now, why you need to have a translation management system in your place? Because the fast-paced globalization, as you know, actually the market fuels expectation from the customers for the better content at the optimal price to be published in multiple languages. So with this translation softwares, which are being embedded in your globalization strategy, then improved ability will be there to manage multiple languages across products and or service line. Means you will be faster to market, you can adapt the market faster, you can penetrate the market faster. Maybe you will penetrating the niche market, small market, untouched markets. Stronger international brand reputation will be developing for your business, and you can have the increased global revenue growth. And you know that machine translation always streamline the translation process. So one major factor is basically you need to save time, you need to reduce the cost of translations, because your growing viability of machine translation engine is growing very much. And TMS, that is translation management system, always integrates one or more than other empty systems which are already there in your workflow, which generates the translations and includes it in your package sent out for translation and localizations. It is getting more and more sophisticated over time, which is easier for the basic learners also to run these machines, and is basically having a very robust system for a long way, thereby eliminating the cost roadblocks so that it won't be a roadblock for you for new market entry. So with this, I am closing this slide and I'm stop sharing. Now I'm open for any queries, any questions. And this is the basic introductory webinar I did. Now it has many things to discuss in detail. So based on the Dr. Fawaz requirement, and if you can give me the requirements, then obviously I can design the basic thing like more details understanding of like TMS. TMS is very important, that is translation management system, because it encompasses all the advanced or emerging technology tools presently and also in future.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay,
thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Brandel. Okay, go ahead, Sophie.
Yes, thank you. It was a very good presentation. And another time, we are so glad to join us in this webinar. Now, let's make any question here. If there is any question, please raise your hand.
Okay, we will post the participation form, but please take the following notes into account, okay? Register your name with correct email. Second, certificates will be published later on our Facebook, including the video of the certificates and names, okay? So, Shawkia, would you please post
Yes.
the...
Yes, now I will post it, Mr. Amir. And as Mr. Amir said, please write your name correctly, the full name, the first, the second, and the family name, and your email. And later you will get your certificate, inshallah.
Okay, the certificate will be in English for sure, okay? If you want to write
Yes.
down your name in Arabic, that's up to you, but the certificate is in English, okay?
Yes, I
Fine.
posted it in the chat box, please.
Dr. Ahmed, don't post your email, please. There is a form, you have to fill the form. If you don't fill the form, you won't get any certificate, period. You know, let's be...
The form.
Okay. Okay, post the form. Okay, please.
Yes,
Take
I put it.
2 minutes to fill.
Yes.
Very much. Yeah.
Thank you. Now let's come to the questions. Yes, please, if there is any question to Dr. برنجال, please raise your hand. Beneath there are reactions. There is raising hand, the symbol raise hand. You can raise your hand and ask any question.
I will share this slide to Dr. Fawaz and also to President, so that accordingly, ma'am, this can be distributed among the participants.
Yes, thank you very much. Yes, another time, as Mr. Amir said, don't write names or emails in the chat box. You will not get a certificate by doing this. Just write on the form, open the form, then write your email and your full name, please.
Please, I have a question.
Yes, please, go ahead.
I just want to know what is the name of the page on Facebook that we can get the whole video and the certificate?
Yes, I will post it now.
Okay, thank
After
you.
a few minutes. Thank you. Yes. Yes, Miss Amani, go ahead with your question.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I want to ask about what is the best website to use for the CAT tool?
See, I cannot suggest any best websites because as per the thumb rule, if you go and search in the Google, the first top 10 are the best sites. So if the Google suggests in the first top 10, then obviously these are the best sites for your intended search. That is the thumb rule, because nowadays what is happening, everything is in internet is not correct. So you cannot take on face value that whatever information I am having on the internet is correct, because these are not being checked, not being verified by any research institutes or any university. So best is using your intuitions, your knowledge, your experience while assessing this. But I must suggest you should go through some good means a high means you can say high number means a high good journals like Scopus, or you can go for like SCI journals. But for practicality, you just get in. You can just check out with how Oxford Press is doing, or some noted, or like Penguin is doing. So some noted companies in the globe, how they're going for this translation activities, like how Google Translate is going to do these activities. Because Google Translate, which came into effect from 2006, are basically using all artificial intelligence enabled tools, using the CAT tools, and also using this machine translations. So you can understand those concepts from the Google itself, that how they are using these practical examples. This is the practical example Like in the very real time, anyone can go to Google Translate and just translate to any source language to any target language. So how they do this? How they do this for this type of quality of translations, which we can have from the Google Translate. But if you see the Google Translate, they are basically machine translation because they don't understand the essence of human beings and they just translate. So that is the low tier translation. Is example, if I say, is Google Translation. But if you go for the high level translation, obviously, then you have to go for CAT tools.
Thank you very much. Bara, go ahead, please.
Sorry, I forgot the raising hand. I'm so sorry.
Yes, thank you very much. Now let's come to another participant, Mr. Ahmed.
Good evening. Yes, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Doctor, and thank you for a productive and fruitful presentation that you will deliver for a while. I'm very happy to participate today and listen to your lecture. But my question regarding to the using machine translation and translating a document, especially when you go to the legal document. As you know, that's the onboard users for machine translation. As you know, that's the
Yes, I muted all. Please unmute yourself, Mr. Ahmed. So sorry for that.
Okay. I did not find what
No, no clear voice, please. Make your voice clearer. No, it is not clear. It is so far. It is so far.
Hand over the microphone to another.
Yes. Now, yes, Mr. Ahmed, go ahead. Continue, please.
Okay, my question to Professor that regarding for legal document, as you know, that's machine translation depends on the input information that's coming from the users, especially when you go to the engage engine, when increasing a number of users and adding a new information and translating the machine translation and the memory that's keep the translation for the next time when you another one that's use the same text or the phrase. But an illegal, as you know, that's some difficult in structure and you need the precise translation, and the machine translation, when you put a legal text there, the output you see that's the as a first draft like broken words, and you can understand exactly what the legal phrases wants to know. So I think in future, with the increasing number of users and the accelerate rate of the technology, that will improve the machine translation service. But my question is, do you expect that in future that machine translation will replace the human minds, and we go to sit in the corner as happening for the hard copy dictionaries? Now a lot of learners and the translators just use the electronic resource, electronic dictionaries instead of the hard copies that if you go through the 10 years in the past, we go to the library and buy the huge size of dictionaries and put them in library. But for the time being we notice that a lot of hard copies of dictionaries that's disappeared from the market, and the huge number of translators and learners go to the electronic resource. That's my questions, and thank you for the valuable lecture.
I would like to sum up in a very few sentences. First thing, there's no need to get panic. Though we are going for the fifth generation of artificial intelligence, as I said during my presentation, which is called artificial neural network. Human beings won't get replaced 100%. The reason behind, though we are advancing in our technologies, but still we are not in a position to understand the human empathy. Human empathy means the requirement of the human beings cannot be replaced by any machines. So that's the reason. First thing, you don't get worry about that. Machine cannot replace human beings. So you cannot do this. Your machines, so human beings always will be there. Number two, the most important thing I would like to say to you that, as I said during my presentation, there is called MTQE, quality assessment or quality estimation has to be there. So while using machine translations are only for the low quality translations. I mean to say for high quality translation like legal translation and all these things, if you are using machine translation tools, then you have to think of using MTQE tools, plus you need to have the quality assurance tools. Human beings will be required because such things cannot be just left to the machines, because as I told, example of Google Translate, it is simply a machine translation. If you type any legal document there, it will give the results which cannot be understood by any court of law of any country. So that's the reason for those activities where the reputation of your company, reputation of your work is being there, then obviously as a thumb rule, human intervention has to be there in all the cases, made with the cases. That's the reason I said in translation management system, it has the flexibility to use any number of emerging technology tools with human beings, and it has all the flexibility to give you to make your own flowcharts. You cannot just rely on the machine flowcharts. There are always the pros and cons of machines. So that's the reason I say, don't worry about that. Human beings won't get replaced 100% at any point of time during this advancement of technologies. So all these activities you have to use your presence of mind, you have to use your requirements, and then choose the best tools which is feasible, which will be helpful for your company to grow, not to get disturbed in this particular complex world.
Okay, thank you, Dr. برنجال. Okay, Dr. Arif, go ahead with your question, please. Arif Al-Ahdal, he is professor from Al Qasim University in Saudi Arabia. Go ahead, Dr. Arif.
Thank you very much, Professor Amir, for the wonderful arrangement and the lovely organization of this fruitful event. And the same goes to our lovely speaker for the wonderful and fruitful enlightening talk as well. I was just wondering whether you could kindly recommend any CAT tool that could be efficiently utilized for literary translation, because I'm very much into literary translation. Yeah, so that's simply the question. I appreciate if you could recommend any CAT tool, I repeat, that could be utilized efficiently for literary translation. Thank you.
Very honestly speaking, see, I actually never recommend any tools from my side, because without knowing the purpose and your requirements in details, because it is something like if I say any doctor cannot just prescribe any medicine to any patient without knowing
I'm actually speaking about tool. I'm talking about literary translation with special reference to tool.
One thing I can do, you just put these questions to President or Dr. Fawaz or the organizers, then I will revert back to them and they can get back to you, where I can give you some options, which I cannot just say this is the best. I will give you some options, then based on the requirements, you have to just select one or two of the options which I can provide.
Thank you very much. So yeah, have a great time, all of you.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
شكرا أستاذ عامر، يعطيك العافية.
الله يعافيكم، أهلا وسهلا.
Okay, is there anybody who wants to ask Dr. برنجال?
Yes, Mr. Arif. Who Arif?
Hello.
Hello. Welcome. Yes, go ahead with your question, please, Mr. Arif.
Arif, he has already finished his question.
Sorry. Amin, Mr.
All
Amin.
right. Okay, Assalamu alaikum, everybody. So, first of all, thank you, Mr. Kumar, for this fruitful presentation. And I want to thank also everybody like for organizing such grateful like presentation. I don't really have a question. It's just one of the comments that I saw earlier that machine will replace translators. I just wanted to say machine will not replace translators. In fact, the translators who are using machines will be replacing the translators who are not using the machine.
Yes.
So, so Mr. Kumat, like if you have an input, because whenever we hear like machine translation, we're scared like, oh my God, like the machines will replace us. So do you have any input in this point? Thank you so much, everyone.
Yeah, we have the example like when computers came first in this world, then everyone was saying, no, the computer will be replacing us and we will be losing our job. Now what has happened? Nothing. Now mobile, now handset has come, Android or iOS, which has replaced computers, which has replaced everything. So nothing can replace human being because there is a necessity of human being which has given this idea to some activities or functions. So this technology is only to support the activity of the translators. If translators someday feel that machines are not required, so they will replace it. They will throw it out. Machine cannot throw the translator, but translator has the option now also to throw these machines out. It is only for the benefit of our translators that they can engage themselves with others without much of the complexities. With like I'm in touch with you. So this is the basically advantage of technology. But if I say no, I don't want to get connected with anyone. Still, I will write letters to my friends. Then who is going to stop you? You can do this. Still, we have post mails, we have snail mails, we have emails. So nothing is going there. It is just the revolution is happening. Now we have to take advantage of this so that we can grow further. We can make our world more happier, more contented. You can say more content. Like everyone should have all the facilities which we thought for ourselves. So this is the only technology is doing this, nothing else. It is not going to replace anything. It is up to us whether to adapt, whether to accept or reject.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Miss Layla Taik from Morocco, please go ahead with your question.
Assalamu alaikum. Hello, everybody.
Yes,
very interesting presentation. Thank you very much for sharing all this important informations. I agree for the last issue you discussed now that a machine cannot replace an interpreter or a translator. Why? It's just one thing that I want you, Mr. Pranjal, just to to clarify is when translating cultural data. Sometimes, cultural data is I do not think that, for example, if translated by a machine, it will not be very clear or it doesn't So you know that cultures, cultures, we have to know them. We have certain cultures, some names, even some words that belongs to certain cultures, which means an interpreter must be knowledgeable enough, must be a researcher, must be know all the fields, approximately all the fields, in order to have his article to be translated. And of course, technology is there to help. Here the interpreter can help himself or herself with the translating machine. So my question again, this debate about translating culture data. What do you think about it, Mr. Paramjal?
Very truly said. I would like to make one more point. If President and Dr. Fawaz permits that in coming days, basically, what I'm saying is we should think of the design thinking. Actually, we have one activity called design thinking, like how to make best use of machines, for human beings. So that is the technology called design thinking, which we used to mostly do for the industries. So the thing comes here again in translation that machine cannot replace human beings because empathy means they cannot mimic human beings 100%. They have to have the human touch. And these things is the differentiation which always should be there. And we should take advantage of this. That mimicking part, we should take advantage of this. And taking into advantage, only those will survive. Only those human beings will survive who understand this importance. If they still feels that they have no role in this particular advent of technology or advent of the future, then they will get perished. The coming to your point for culture, that already I have touched in the presentation in just a few words, that culture is the most important and very sensitive things in the civilization, so which cannot be left to machines translation at any point of time as a thumb rule also. That's the reason while devising or designing these machine translation tools, they have given this option called MTQE, that is machine translation quality estimation. Quality means what? Not the quality of your prints or not the quality of a paper, but the quality of your sensible and very sensitive information which is being passed on from the source to the target during translations. If I'm translating to Spanish, I should understand the culture of the Spanish. I should understand the sensitivity of their civilization of the Spanish, or to Arabic, or to some other countries. So if that machines cannot understand, though you have might have programmed very high level programming you have did using the neomorphic system, which is part of the 5th generation AI, but still there are many things are there, many gaps are there which machines cannot do in future also. And there basically our human intervention is very much required. And I have also answered this. Now it is up to us, it is up to the civilization, it is up to the human culture, whether we are we are being the slave of the machines, or we are still making machines our slaves. It is up to us only. No one can dictate. If we think that a machine is making us slave, then obviously we'll be slave someday. But still we have to understand our basic needs, and everything cannot be left out to machines. Machines are there to just to coordinate our necessities in a faster mode, but still human beings are there to be there because we are making this translation for the humans, not for the machines. So why machines is there for giving the results of ours intended for the humans. So obviously human intervention is required. Only machines are there to make it faster, so that it reaches your customer accurately at the least cost, at the optimal cost, and it should have the same sense, same quality, same transparency as what was done earlier without machines. That is my point.
Okay, thank you, Dr.
Thank you.
Brunjal.
Thank you very much.
I wish to ask Corina, are you there, Corina?
But before that, please, Mr. Amer, can you present this certificate of appreciation for Dr. Brunjal?
Okay, I wanna thank Dr. Brunjal. Thank you all for coming, showing up today. We are very pleased to confer this certificate of appreciation to Dr. Brunjal Komar for Can, and thank him for his valuable presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
You are welcome.
Congratulations. Congratulations, Dr. Brunjal, for this amazing and fruitful presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much.
I hope we can. Okay, Corina, go ahead, Corina. Okay, where are you from? Yes, go ahead.
Hello. I'm not sure if you can hear me very well. I'm very far away. I'm in Europe, in Romania.
Yes, your voice is so clear. Go ahead, please.
Oh, great. Thank you so much. I found the presentation extremely interesting since I am a freelance translator, I am a teacher, a university teacher, and I am currently dealing in teaching translation theory and practice to my students, second and third year students. So I'm particularly interested in these new trends in machine translation. I haven't been using them myself since I only very rarely translate. I mean, professionally, but yes, I do agree with everything that has been said, and thank you for the new information that Dr. Pranjal so kindly shared with us. I feel that those 2 hours have been very fruitfully spent. Thank you so much. I'm sorry I couldn't be more more active since it is kind of late here in Romania and there are many other things I had to attend to, but for most of the time I paid attention, and I was just hoping that maybe we can find the presentation per se somewhere posted or in some other form, if possible.
You mean this webinar? It's okay. It will be uploaded tomorrow, and there will be.
Perfect. I wasn't sure I understood correctly.
Okay.
Thank you.
Please have my WhatsApp. You know, we are interested to host, you know. Okay, you can send me if you are interested. We can host you. Okay, if you have something to talk about, you know, we are very pleased to have you as our guest speaker, Corina. So this is my WhatsApp, and we will send you the certificates. Each certificate will be designed by our designers. A video of all certificates will be also published. This webinar will be uploaded tomorrow on our channel and on YouTube. So just keep posted.
Okay, thank you so much. It's a great opportunity.
I hope, okay, you can suggest a guest speaker. Either you can be our guest speaker. You are an academic, right? Or
Yes,
a translator.
I am both, yeah.
Okay, let's have a Romanian guest this time, you know, so we can talk. Look, you know, we'll be very pleased to have you, Corina, okay? So just WhatsApp me. This is my WhatsApp. So we can organize something, inshallah, hopefully.
Yeah, but it sounds like a great opportunity for the future. Thank you so much.
Okay.
We'll definitely arrange something. Thank you so much.
Hopefully. We are very pleased to have you tonight. Okay. Yes, Shawki, the floor is yours, Shawki.
Yes, thank you very much. If there is any other question, please, Renee, please go ahead with your question.
Good morning.
Good morning.
In the Philippines, it's already morning.
Yes, here it is evening in Paris.
Am I clear?
Yes, go ahead. Welcome.
Okay, so this lecture is very informative. Thank you, Professor, for giving us a good lecture. I have a question because in the Philippines we use translating machine, especially Google Translate. How about in India? What particular beside Google Translate? What particular program or application that most commonly used?
In India, also commonly for the official activities or for individual activities, people use Google only because there are many other translating systems are there, but still Google is very famous because it gives because the glossaries size of Google is very huge. But specifically, if I say for the companies or industries which are specific to translation, they merely use Google because, as I say, Google is a machine translation system for low-tier translations. For high level of high-end translation, obviously you cannot just rely on Google. So for this, you need to have some translation management system in your place where you can use multiple tools, or you can use your existing systems. You can collaborate or collaborate with the human interventions. That depends on the requirement of your business. But as a system, as a single system, that is not possible or not available presently anywhere. So you have to just customize. If you are going for the simple translation one-to-one, then Google is obviously in India also the same thing. But for if you go for specialized thing, obviously, then you need to have some you need to have the system as per your requirements. So for which there is no standard or thumb rule. As I said earlier, also options are there. Now you need to have some your appetite. Your appetite should be seen. Your appetite is required. Like for what purpose you need to have this system in place, whether your existing traditional system is not functioning or not up to mark, why not up to mark, then you have to first diagnose it. Based on diagnosis, you can go for whether I can go for like 20% customization or automation, I can go for 40% automation, but you cannot go for 100% automation in any cases. Human intervention has to be there. So it depends on your requirements, your appetite, your necessity, your needs. So for which we can just guide you the technologies, but we cannot guide you like which is better, which is not better.
Thank you, Dr. Kumar. And also, I have a suggestion for this association. I just noticed in your Facebook page, it's commonly in using Hindi language. I don't understand some. I don't understand the post in your Facebook page. I do hope that it is. You can use also English in Facebook page for us to notify in some events so that we can understand also.
Inshallah, inshallah. Okay, Facebook does translate each text to any language you need, Renee. What do? You didn't introduce yourself, by the way. You know, so okay, if there are ads in English, we publish it. If not, we have to address our members in Arabic. But anyway, Facebook does provide a translation service. So you can, there is Safdar, Dr. Safdar, every day he follows up there and he keeps, putting likes. Though he's a Pakistani, he doesn't speak Arabic. Anyway, so what do you do for a living, Renee? What's your business?
Actually, I'm a university professor here in the Philippines.
Inshallah.
And also,
okay, so WhatsApp me so we can host you, inshallah. If you have a topic, something to talk about to address our members, we are very honored and pleased to have you.
Yes, thank you. I already sent message through your Facebook page.
Okay,
no, this Facebook page po.
What do you teach? Linguistics, English? What's your
linguistic in translation in Filipino, our language in the Philippines, from English to Filipino language. That's why I know that in our language is very diverse. Also, we have a problem in translating diverse words because every day it's used to change, and that's why I attending here in the seminar to some inputs of other translators.
We are very pleased to have you tonight or today, Renee. So okay,
thank you, sir.
Something together, hopefully.
Yes, hopefully, sir.
Yes, just WhatsApp me. You have my WhatsApp. Let's see what we can do. Okay, and okay, thank you, رينيه. شو اسمها هي؟ المهم، اوكي شوقية. وين شوقية؟ ايه شوقية؟ راحت نامت شوقية. طيب, okay, so does anybody have any question for Dr. برنجال before we finalize things? As we said earlier, certificates, videos will be published on our Facebook. Please follow up there. Hopefully you will finish the certificates tonight or tomorrow morning.
ليه جزء جزء وجزء وجزء؟ ليش؟ ايش بعث اليمن الجنوبي واليمن الشمالي؟
السلام
عليكم دكتور عامر.
عليكم السلام، اهلين اخي علي ياسر.
ممكن اسئله واتكلم لو سمحت.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Thank you very much. First of all, I would like to thank Arab Translator Association and especially my teacher, Prof. Amr, and Mrs. Shawqiya for this session. Now, I warm welcome with our host, Dr. Komar. Thank you for your presentation. That is a marvelous session, really. Now, my questions, please. في صوت ثاني ممكن another voice. Your doctor mentioned the culture and localization in your session. Every time I am trainer in Arab Translator Association. Every time in this fast time.
Rashid, please close your microphone.
And in
sorry, I muted all and you can unmute yourself, please.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Shaqir.
Sorry. Go ahead, please.
Yes. As I mentioned, that's the time of fast of time now and an age of accelerating for all, especially youth. Every time we want to use our skills and experience to translate, and we are need to make our effort, and the time is short. Now, can you give me what is different between the traditional method and the new method to translate by computer or any means to make us translate with easy from time and effort? Thank you very much for your lesson.
Yeah, thank you very much. There is no difference between traditional and present method. Only difference is we are using tools which are advanced tools. Previously in traditional method also, we are doing the same steps which we do for the translations, for the editing purpose, selecting purpose. Same thing is also happening now. Only these activities which was earlier done by human beings, which are repetitive, which are mundane, now these are being done by the machines. So the difference is that the using machines, repetitive things can be taken care by the machines. There are less chances of errors due to human interventions, and your work is getting faster, more effective, cost effective, and also your productivity is improving. You can access the global market because through internet, through this emerging technologies, you are more accessible to everyone because cloud is there, cloud computing is there. These are some of the enablers. These are only the enablers, nothing else. Otherwise, the whole system of translation, which was since time immemorial, is same. Nothing has changed. Your purpose is same. It has not changed. Machine has not changed the purpose of translation. It has not changed the input. It has not changed the output. It has not changed the processes also. It only enables so that it is become faster, more reliable, more sustainable, and more effective, considering the requirement and necessity which are being defined by the civilizations and cultures and the societies and the religion and many other things from time to time. So that is the only thing. Using technology, like if I walk, I can go. If I go by cycle, if I go by scooter, if I go by train, if I go by plane, my destination remains the same. My origin remains the same. My intention remains the same. But only enablers are bicycle, enablers are scooter, enablers are train, railways, enablers are sheep or trade. Otherwise, the requirement is based on the human needs. So that is by saying there's no difference between traditional method of doing this and present advanced technology method of doing this. These are enablers to make your work easier, faster, and competitive. Nothing else.
Dr. Komar, thank you very much. But as you know, we are all translator, want to find accuracy and simplicity and clarity in our writing. You agree with me in that opinion? Yes or not?
Yes.
Okay. Before 5 or 6 years, I translate from the poet, Indian poet, A.K. Romanjo. The dress, maybe the sensibility in poetry of A.K. Romanjo. Really, I suffering from translate this to Arabic. And that time I was a teacher in college, but I cannot understand the culture of India in that time. That is some barrier between culture. We must cross that barrier to understand what the poet say and what the message of poet and what the poet write this. The poet write this poet. You agree in that? But till now, sorry, I am very sorry to interrupt your speaking. Until now, we every time need to improve and develop our skills and experience to translate in a good way. Thank you for your answer. Thank you very much and goodbye.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Ali. Thank you very much. Yes, Ms. Rana. Ms. Rana, please go ahead with your question.
Okay. First of all, I want to thank you very much for this wonderful session. And it's not a question; it's a comment. I say machine translation is not only a useful facilitator in the process of translating, but directly generates a translation output. However, this kind of machine. However, this kind of machine translated text may subsequently have to be revised and edited by a human translator. This method might only be useful for large-scale projects and text where readability and a particular communication style is of a little importance.
So emerging technologies are basically will help you to keep the past memories intact. Means, if I suppose want to improve my translation activities, then I need to know what are my historical mistakes, what are my historical errors. So machines helps you to keep this in your database. That is one advantage of using machines. You don't need to again go back to your hand curated work to check out the big files and all books and all things, because system will be having there. Then you can use those past historical data using big data analytics. You can have some prescriptive or predictive analytics. That if I do this translation this way, this time, then the same mistake will crop up and my result will be like this. So it actually you will having some warning system. So that is one part machines can play. But obviously, as I said, machines cannot understand the essence. The essence actually comes into picture with your experience, which you can feed into the machines as a repository. So later on, you don't need to remember. Your machine will remember. It will give you when you go for the file database search. So with this, basically, it actually helps you in making you more productive. Nothing else. So that is my concern. That machines are basically only to help you to be more productive. How productive you are, so that you can improve upon. You can make your creations much better day by day. Machines cannot make it better. You have to make it better, but machines will help you, enable you to make it better with their database system, with their file sharing system, or many other things, which you obviously everyone knows in the present ICT system, that is internet communication technology, all these things. So this is the basic thing. Otherwise, all these are gimmicks. I can say many things about the artificial intelligence, but ultimately the human being who is going to do the job.
Okay, thank you very much. Now let's come to Mr. Muhammad Zubair from India. Please go ahead with your question.
Finalize things, maybe
yes.
You go to sleep, Dr.
Yes,
it
is the last question, Mr. Amir, because Mr. Muhammad Zubair from the beginning wants to ask a question, but he had a problem. Now he can ask his question. Welcome, Mr. Muhammad.
Am I audible?
Yes, yes.
Oh, hello, assalamu alaikum to all of you. I am Muhammad Zubair from India. I am from New Delhi. I am assistant professor of special education and working in the faculty of education in the Department of Education. So it was nice session organized by your organization, and I'm very thankful to Ms. Shokia because she invited me at this platform. So machine translation is very impressive technology, and has come far from those early stages, and modern engines are now capable of competing with human translators to a degree. In fact, we have a whole webinar dedicated explaining how content managers can incorporate machine translation into their translation process. So, but in summary, when discussing machine translation, we should be thinking along the lines of, when do I hand off content to a human translator, and when do I let machine translation handle the task? The biggest factor will come down to, content priorities, some considerations like where is this content going, or what is the target audience, and what demand is this content fulfilling, or can content be edited or revised? Are there any legal restrictions? So high priority critical content, for example, legal documentation or medical information, will require the expertise of a human translator. So due to the nature of this content and the high priority of accuracy, rapid deployment is or not always be the main goal. One mistake could lead to a cascade of potential issues. Even launching a new landing page for your latest product is a perfect example of high priority content. So this is where brand voice and style needs to shine, and companies should look to leverage the creative touch of a human translator. So from there, we can drill down even further and determine whether or not machine translation is the right choice for each project. So this will heavily depend on the complexities involved, for example, volume, simplicity, priority. So it isn't simple, and asking yourself, does this content make sense for machine translation? Do I need the creative input of a professional translator, or will I be able to correct my course of action? Or once I hit send, will that email exist as it is forever? So what's your viewpoint about it?
My viewpoint is only one line, that is competitive advantage. In business, we used to say one word called competitive advantage. So what is your competitive advantage because of your unique selling proposition or your value proposition? So if any company understand and has its own value proposition, its unique selling proposition, and the competitive advantages against its competitors, then they can very well decide and discuss that to what extent and to what tools or what technologies we need to have in our system, whether it is really required or not. If you take the example of automobile, Rolls-Royce still makes handcrafted components of the car. Therefore, they produces very less number of cars in a year. But if I go to some other manufacturers like Suzuki or some other company, they are mass producers. The difference is still there. Rolls-Royce is Rolls-Royce, Suzuki is Suzuki. So it is up to the company, what is their competitive advantage. If they want to be the global leader, then they have to adapt technology but as per the requirements, as per the need, as per the accuracy, as per the sensitivity, as per the legality, as per the statutory requirements of the law of the land. So based on that, actually, I cannot say that emerging technology is not good. I cannot say emerging technologies are good. It has to be basically both ways. There are the pros, there are the cons. So it is the same. It is a two side of a coin. Now it is basically the requirement of the individual or freelancer or the companies to discuss and decide. I have just shown that these are the emerging technologies. It is up to them basically whether to adopt, whether not to adopt, based on the requirement of whether they are globally they want to globally competitive, or they want to be a local company or localized company. So it matters basically, nothing else. It matters.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Shauki, thank you, Dr. Branjal. Thank you, Dr. Zubair. I think we have to finish now, and hope we can see you in our coming lectures and webinars, hopefully. So I want to thank you again, Dr. برنجال, and hope we can organize a course in coordination with Dr. Fawaz. So
Yes, sir.
Let's do something. You know, we can organize an international course in your field, etc. So okay,
Yes.
we'll have some. Okay, اللي بده يضل راح نضل الجلسة 15 minutes. يعني some people they said that they want to talk in Arabic for the last 15 minutes. Okay, so we are very glad and proud of you, Dr. برنجال. Keep in touch.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir. Thank you all. Thank you to all the audience for their patience listening. And I am really glad and grateful that I have given this opportunity. Actually, I was just very honest thinking. I was also afraid that whether my presentation will be good, will be liked or not. But I am thankful that you all liked it, and I will be continuing to provide such information through webinars, through these courses, classes, which as I discussed with you, sir, and I'll be in touch with you.
Okay, you know, you are a very smart, dynamic, thoughtful man. So we know that we are very proud of you, Dr. برنجال, and hope we can do something
yes.
Together. Hopefully. Okay, so now the webinar is done. Shawki, are you there? Let's stop recording, please. And so you can speak in Arabic now, our friends, partners, and members.